Law enforcement in New York is still looking for the suspected gunman that shot and killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson early Wednesday morning outside a Manhattan hotel. Take a look. NYPD releasing these two photos of a person of interest in the killing. Thompson was in New York to attend an investor conference when he was gunned down outside of the venue. According to an Associated Press report, the ammunition that the shooter used had the words "deny, defend, and depose" etched into shell casing found at the scene. Investigators say they believe the messages could be a reference to strategies healthcare companies use to deny insurance claims. While they have not released a motive, police have called the attack targeted and said the shooter waited for several minutes for Thompson to arrive. They also said the shooter was able to quickly clear a malfunction of the gun during the shooting, leading them to believe he has experience with firearms. A manhunt for the suspect continues today. Police are offering up to a $10,000 reward for information. Meantime, major health insurance say they are stepping up security for top executives. Jesse Byrnes, senior editor here at The Hill, joins us to discuss this and more. The Jesse police have searched this hostel in Upper Manhattan where the suspect is believed to have stayed. This violence in the U.S. is sadly nothing new, but what do you make of this brazen attack on this healthcare executive? We've seen this happen to politicians, their families, business leaders now. Does everyone need security?
Yeah, I think it has become this new reality in this country. And of course, we've talked about this for several years of lawmakers having to ramp up their own security. We've seen threats against justices on the Supreme Court. Assassination attempts now have become, this is a regular occurrence, this sense of threat and danger to people in high-profile positions. And you're right, you have people now who are someone gunned down in Midtown Manhattan, who, but I think what we've seen out of this is, we haven't seen an outpouring of sympathy per se online. Instead, we've seen relatively more of a dark commentary on the state of healthcare in this country, a lot of vitriol aimed at health insurers. At the same time now, these companies are having to grapple with something that politicians and others in high-profile positions have had, members of the media as well, and that is just the reality that people who are in high-profile positions have to now worry about their security on a personal level, and that sense of vulnerability is deepening in this country, and that sense of division, regardless of the unity that both sides have tried to project following the election.
It seems like a dangerous combination when you have the vitriol that we see online, added to that the ability for people to post pictures and track people's whereabouts so easily on social media platforms.
That's right. Social media has just added a huge element to this of being able to dox individuals, put out their personal information, and it's a real issue now that these health insurance companies, but also corporate America today is looking at, reevaluating their security plan for top executives. And I think you're also going to see in the political sphere as well. We've seen a number of lawmakers who have honed in on this brazen attack in Manhattan, and so it's top of mind for everyone, regardless of industry.
So Speaker Johnson walking around Capitol Hill the other day with a huge security detail just highlights how dangerous these political positions can be. The Biden administration is considering these blanket preemptive pardons for people who they think could be in the crosshairs of President-elect Trump's so-called revenge efforts once he gets back into office. Names that have been thrown out there: Anthony Fauci, Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, Jack Smith. These concerns are heightened a bit with the naming of Kash Patel as Trump's nominee to lead the FBI. He has promised to go after Trump's critics. The question is, do these people actually want a pardon? On one hand, maybe they would want some protection. By the other hand, it kind of identifies them as somebody who thinks they may have something to hide.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for all of the individuals that you just named, they're going through this process of, is this just rhetoric on the part of the incoming president and his team, or is that actually potentially followed up with action? Of course, Biden is in this predicament where he's facing controversy among his own members of his own party for his pardon of his son, Hunter. And typically at the end of presidencies, presidents will issue pardons. Trump did, I think, around 150. President Obama did more than 200. So he is expected to issue, dozens more, at least in the coming weeks. That being said, this does risk casting aspersions on individuals who maybe don't even want a pardon, who say, listen, I did nothing wrong. Please don't take this step that I did not request. Give me a pardon that I don't want. And so I think, but at the same time, the reality is there's a big question mark over the incoming Trump team, the Department of Justice, and how far they will go. Trump has, Elon Musk, who of course has played a huge role in the transition so far, has already threatened to penalties for people like Jack Smith, the special counsel, Alexander Vindman, a key figure in Trump's impeachment, one of his impeachment hearings. And so there is this sense of worry among some Democrats, but also some Republicans who have been critical of Trump, that these threats might be followed up with action. But it remains to be seen exactly what pardons might be issued. Some Democrats, like Brendan Boyle from Pennsylvania, saying do a blanket pardon. Others who are really pushing back on that.
Speaking of Kash Patel, Olivia Troy, she's a former counterterrorism aide to Vice President Mike Pence during the first Trump administration. She says Patel would lie about intelligence and that at times put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk. Patel was threatening legal action against them, saying those accusations are false. But when it comes to Patel, he's one of the more controversial picks that the Senate is going to have to consider. What do you make of his chances of getting confirmed?
Well, as it stands right now, Senate Republicans have not ruled out Patel as the potential director of the FBI. There was certainly some consternation that maybe, Republicans had early concerns about him, and there was, I think, a little bit of a push to have him not be in the director position. Trump ultimately did nominate, or say that he will nominate him for director, and that does come with a lot of implications. As the head of the FBI, you get to set the course for the entire law enforcement bureau, and you do have a lot of investigative sway operating within the DOJ. And so although Senate Republicans have not ruled him out, I think you are going to see some concerns about him just based on what he is on tape saying in the past and the ways that he wants to go after political opponents. Now, he will, come time for confirmation hearings, be asked that question and given an opportunity to say whether that was just rhetoric or if he actually has those intentions if he were to be confirmed.
While we're on the subject of nominees, I might as well check your temperature on some of the other more controversial ones. Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. Are they all in this same boat that we're kind of in this wait and see, or do you think that some of them have better chances of getting confirmed than others?
Well, Hegseth's nomination is hanging on by a thread. It's been very clear this week in his repeated visits to Capitol Hill that even though he is projecting this air of confidence, he is, his mother was on television appealing to Trump, trying to maintain his nomination. It's on life support at the moment, and that is for a number of reasons. Primarily concerning the allegations against him, even people like Lindsey Graham, a staunch Trump ally, suggesting that if the allegations do have weight behind them, if they are true, then he certainly should not be confirmed. So there is a little bit of palace intrigue also in the mix of maybe Governor DeSantis of Florida, if he is potentially tapped, that might open up some room for another Trump ally to move up in the ranks. So it remains to be seen. For Tulsi Gabbard, she's been flying a little bit under the radar with the Hegseth and as well as the Patel controversies playing out the last couple of weeks, and she really has one of the most difficult challenges ahead of her to try to get confirmed. You just need 4 Senate Republicans to vote down any of these nominees. And when you go to people like Mitch McConnell, who have been staunch proponents of supporting Ukraine amid its war with Russia, her rhetoric on Ukraine, her statements in the past that are in black and white regarding that were sympathetic to Russia's position in the war, people like McConnell are going to have a real issue with that. And so even though she's flying a little bit on the radar right now, she's one to watch who, when push comes to shove, will face a huge challenge actually getting confirmed.
Bitcoin this week hit $100,000. First time ever it's done that. Trump posted on Truth Social, "You're welcome" to Bitcoin enthusiasts. Trump had once been a big critic of cryptocurrencies, now is on board. This is the same thing, we've seen a lot of skepticism of cryptocurrencies among maybe what you would call traditional financial investment firms and investors. What do you think the Trump administration and the Trump presidency, Republican control of Congress now, will mean for cryptocurrency? And are there any potential pitfalls of kind of letting that industry run wild?
Well, there is a potential that this could be very disruptive. There's many like Jerome Powell for the Fed chair who view it as a speculative currency. They are really pushing back on the idea that it has the potential to really gain a footing. At the same time, like in all of these different areas, Trump is looking to disrupt, and he has promised that America could become the crypto capital of the planet. He has now installed Paul Atkins for SEC chair, who is a pro-crypto figure who served in the Bush administration as a commissioner on the SEC. So he certainly is bringing to the table people who are boosting crypto around him. Now, whether that plays out into actual policy, I think one person to kind of watch in this is Scott Bessent, for the pick for Treasury Secretary, as someone who is well regarded in the business community, but could play a key role in actually advancing the views on crypto in Washington. I think that would be very interesting to watch. But certainly, Trump is surrounding himself with people who are trying to boost crypto. At the end of the day, whether it actually changes its status in finance as well as in Washington remains to be seen.
Let's talk about NASA. The President-elect Trump has nominated Jared Isaacman to lead NASA in his incoming administration. He's someone who has been working closely with SpaceX and is close to Elon Musk. What do you think the Trump administration and Isaacman mean for NASA policy? What do you expect to see from NASA over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to kind of take a step back and also weigh the role that Elon Musk has just played in the space race within the United States. And he has played a huge role in being able to, with the rise of SpaceX, try to push the federal government to not give up on space. And now that he is playing a huge role in the transition, I think that adds another layer. Now, it also adds an element of are competitors to some of these figures being boxed out of this process. So there's certainly some competition concerns that I think you're going to see lawmakers raise. At the same time, Trump has pushed to essentially make all of these agencies more efficient, and NASA's no exception. And so I think there's a safety component as well. Lawmakers are going to wonder, okay, if we are reducing regulations in certain regard, what is his plan for reducing regulations, if in fact that's what he's pushing for, and does that compromise safety in any way? But it certainly fits the mold of someone that Trump wants in a position of leadership, not looking at a former lawmaker, looking at someone who's in the industry who knows it intimately.
Be interesting to watch what section is carved out for NASA and what is going to be done more by private companies. Elon Musk,
Right.
Jeff Bezos, all highly involved. Jesse Byrnes, senior editor here at The Hill. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Drew.
Based on a comprehensive investigation of the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department, the Justice Department has found a pattern or practice of conduct that violates people's civil and constitutional rights.
DOJ is releasing its findings after an investigation into the Memphis Police Department following the death of Tyre Nichols. Nichols was a Memphis native who was stopped by police in January of 2023 for reckless driving and was tasered, pepper sprayed, and beaten by 5 police officers. He died at the hospital 3 days later. The report from the Justice Department raises concerns about the Memphis Police Department's treatment of children. The report also alleges the department conducts unlawful stops, searches, and arrests, as well as discriminates when it responds to people with behavioral health issues. The report also says the Memphis Police relied on traffic stops to address violent crime, but says it does not ensure its officers' conduct is lawful. It mentions Nichols' case in particular, describing it as a tragic consequence of this alleged unlawful behavior.
The police department must stop policies that have a disproportionate effect on Black people in this community. The practices I described, however, violate the Constitution and federal law. They harm and demean people, and they promote distrust, undermining the fundamental safety mission of a police department.
According to an Associated Press report, the city of Memphis said it would not agree to negotiate federal oversight of the police department until it could review the DOJ findings and challenge the results of the investigation. The Justice Department says it is prepared to sue the city in order to end the police department's misconduct. Human rights group Amnesty International is accusing Israel of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip, saying it has sought to destroy Palestinians by launching deadly attacks, demolishing vital infrastructure, and blocking food and other aid from going in. A report released on Thursday said Israel's actions could not be justified by the October 7th terrorist attack that ignited the war, and said Israel's allies, including the U.S. and Germany, may be complicit. The Israeli government, as well as an Israeli branch of Amnesty International, have rejected the allegations. In a statement, Israel's foreign ministry called the report entirely false and based on lies. It comes just over a week after the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister for war crimes in the Gaza Strip. Amnesty International is now calling on the U.S. and Germany to pressure Israel further to end the war. That's today's Daily Debrief. I'm Drew Petrimoulx. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hills YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.